Good evening and warm welcome to all the participants. This is WiseViews Leadership Conversations session number 207, and we are joined by Mr. Rajiv Reddy. Thank you, sir. Good evening and welcome to this conversation.
Good evening, Sudhakar. Good evening.
It's a great pleasure to see you, sir, and I'm very happy that you have agreed to speak with us. I will very quickly do a brief introduction and request you to start your opening remarks. Kindly allow me to share my screen.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, these are WiseViews leadership conversations, which we hold with various leaders from all walks of life. And today, session number 207, it is from the Scratch Code. Life lessons from the Scratch Code, playing without excuses. That's the title of the conversation. And Mr. Rajiv Reddy is going to lead us with this conversation. And this conversation will be for 1 hour all put together. I'll do a brief introduction like what I'm doing right now, and I'll request our guest to deliver the opening remarks. And after that, we have 2 clusters of Q&A. Sir is a veteran squash champion, international referee, and business leader. He began squash at 36, and at 72, he is still a reigning champion, celebrated for perseverance and reinvention. 2023 victory at the age of 72, Mr. Reddy won the national championship in the over 70 category, reinforcing his endurance and skill. Recognized as both a sports administrator and entrepreneur, embodying discipline, balance, and leadership. Several achievements he has got: national champion across decades. He won multiple masters categories, over 45 up to over 70, including 2023 and 2024 national titles. He is winner of 14 national titles and still counting. Global refereeing he is doing, World Squash Federation. He is an accredited referee there. He officiated at top international events and is a director of referees ICFAI. He is a former coach of India's national juniors girls team. He nurtured various young champions. He is also the director of Madras Cricket Club. He plays multiple sports, including hockey and tennis. Mr. Rajiv actively participates in hockey and tennis leagues for his club. Mr. Rajiv was a coach, as I mentioned, national junior girls team in the late 1990s, mentoring players like Reddy and Pia Abraham. These are popular names. He transitioned into refereeing and quickly rose through the ranks to become a recognized World Squash Federation referee. He is currently director of referees in the Squash Rackets Federation, which I mentioned as SRFI, and officiating at top tournaments globally. That's a wonderful profile, and we are very happy that you have joined, sir. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. I will also take 1 minute to introduce my esteemed colleague, Dr. R. Prasad. He is the Senior Director at the Academic Wing in ICFAI Group. He brings 3 decades of rich experience to the table as an entrepreneur, as a corporate professional, and now as an academic at ICFAI. He holds BTech from IIT Bombay and PGDM from IIM Calcutta. And he has handled senior responsibilities across ICFAI Group over the last 2 decades. And I'm very happy to welcome Professor Prasad to this conversation. Thank you, Professor Prasad.
Thank you.
We are all set to learn from you, sir. Over to you for your journey. We will listen to you for about 15 minutes or so and then start asking you questions. Thank you so much once again. And ladies and gentlemen who have joined in big numbers from around the country, I welcome all of you. Let's ask good questions, curious questions, and take away how perseverance can be cultivated at any stage and at any age in life. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad. Thank you, Mr. Sudhakar Garu. In fact, I would like to thank both of you for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences in squash. And it's a very interesting topic. I'm Rajiv Reddy, and I have been the national champion. I have retained my over 70 title just a month back. But I'd like to give a pause now and talk about playing and winning. See, playing and winning in a squash court, or in life, or in career, or even in a mindset. It's more importantly, how often do we lose even before we even start in life? And we always think that we are doing something and we want to do, but we don't try sincerely. All this because there's one thing, and that is excuses. Excuses may be reasonable, but still there are things like, I started late, there's not enough time, I should have done it earlier, I think there's not the right time to do. There are a lot of things keep coming into the mind. And let me be honest, this age or time is not a barrier. The barrier is, it's in the mind. You create a story and you're telling yourself that it cannot be done. It's not possible. It's all in your mind. And this story, what happens is, once when you start thinking about that particular excuse and telling yourself it cannot be done, you automatically get yourself into that mindset. Remember, excuses, as they say, it's optional, but effort is not. Here in this, I would like to give two case studies of two gentlemen, one gentleman and lady in India itself, how they have defied age, a true grit and determination, how these people have achieved the impossible. I don't know if all of you have heard about Fauja Singh, the marathoner. When he was 80 years old, he was highly diabetic. Doctors told him that he has to exercise, there's no other go. Even he walks for few meters, he used to get that fatigue. He went to his son to stay in London, and there he saw the London Marathon. He found youngsters and old people in the 80s also running. This was a spark he got, and he said to himself that I'll also start. A lot of people told him, at least you walk, that's enough. Don't. But here is a gentleman who said, no, I will do it. He started jogging, then running. In the 90th, he did the London Marathon when he was 90 years old. And he broke the world record of over 90 by 58 minutes over the previous world record. And the last competitive race he ran was when he was 101 years old. And he has run 9 marathons. People were telling him, putting him all barriers in his mind, but he had removed all these barriers and he says, no, I will carry on. Unfortunately, in July this year, 2 months back, in Jalandhar, his village, when he was just crossing the road, a youngster driving very fastly hit him and he passed away at the age of 114. Now, this guy, Fauja Singh, has become a world icon. How he has started so late in life. At 80, he started running. 90, he creates a record. He runs 101 years was his last competitive race. These are the case studies which always we feel he never had excuses. He never thought that excuse was the thing. He was determined and he carried on and then he was successful. There's another lady back home. I don't know how many of you have heard about Arunima Sinha. She was a national volleyball player. She was going to Delhi because she had an interview because she wanted to join the paramilitary forces. From Lucknow to Delhi in the train, the robbers came. They wanted to pull her gold chain. She resisted and they pushed her out of the train. She fell on the tracks. The train opposite side came and crushed her leg. She was amputated. She said that I wanted to climb the Mount Everest. People were saying that she was joking. They said, are you mad? You're disabled. Please don't do that. There's so many other things. She says, no. This accident happened in 2011. After she recovered, she put a false leg and she went to mountaineering classes. Against heavy odds, she trained herself with clear determination. She had a goal and she said, I want to achieve it. And I think it's on May 21st, 2013, that she climbed the Mount Everest. She's to the summit. These are the instances which the excuses for them was not in their mind. And I think there's the famous saying, where there's a will, there is a way. And how you condition yourself. Yes, it's not impossible. I will do it. Then against heavy odds, you do it. This can be related to your business, can be related to your career, could related to your life. Because a lot of challenges do come. And how we overcome it is what, they say you're of a certain stuff. When I was 36, I became a member of Madras Cricket Club. It's one of the premier sports club in the country. I was very keen to join. I went for the interview. They said, we can give you only long-term temporary membership, which is for 3 years. And if you play any sport for the club, we'll invite you for a permanent membership. I came down from the interview room and on the right side, I saw a squash course. And I said to myself, I'll represent MCC in squash. At 36, I had never played a racket sport. I passed out from Hyderabad Public School, HPS. And like all youngsters, we all used to play hockey, football, cricket, or athletics, things like that. Never exposed to a racket game. I buy a wooden racket those days. I went there to the courts, very good players. So the marker, the guy who plays with the members, he said, sir, you better come in the morning because evening you will not have time. You're just a beginner. My entire life I had to change. My lifestyle I had to change because I was working for ABP and morning would be very difficult. But I said no. 6:30 I was in the courts practicing for an hour and a half and going to my office there. I changed my entire lifestyle because the goal was I have to represent the club A and I must get a permanent membership is the second goal. And I started this journey. By the time I finished about 10 months, the same marker told me, sir, you're playing very well. If you have to improve, you have to better place come in the evening, so you have to change. I started. And I must tell you that at 36, 37, it's more or less the end of a squash career. you'll be just, because you're much older. But with the selection trials, I made it to the squash team and I never looked back. Then the first national set at 45, I played and I won my first nationals. And the journey continued. I thought to myself that I have to give back to this game because I made a lot of friends. I have became a member, all these things. So I started training and giving my time to all the youngsters. All these girls like Vaidehi, Priya, Joshna Chenappa, Deepika Pallikal, all these kids I've been trained them when they were very young. And all these girls have achieved and brought laurels to this country. Gold medal in Asian Games, in Commonwealth Games. They all have been my kids whom I have trained from a very young age. After that, then I joined the federation, and federation had appointed me be the national women's coach, and I used to travel with the teams. Then I became a very keen to become a referee. World referee was also my target, and I was also thinking that one main aspect was I will be, if I given an opportunity of a world referee, I'll be officiating the world number ones, the top players in the world. So that motivation was there for me. Instead of sitting on the side, I'll be sitting on the hot seat and officiating them. And this, to become a world referee, it was not easy. A lot of challenges. And secondly, there's a white man's club. They will never allow the others get into it. Because when I'm refereeing, you have to referee the top 15 in the world. And when you're refereeing, they'll assess you. You must get 25 decisions. Just to make it invalid. Sometimes they say you didn't get 25 decisions. But I hung in there. I said, no, I'll carry on. You guys do what you want. Finally, they realized that this guy deserves it. His perseverance. And I was made and given the honor of being the world referee. I have done officiating in 5 Asian Games, starting from Doha Asian Games to last year, Hangzhou Asian Games in China. I've done 2 Commonwealth Games. I've done World Championships. It's been a very satisfying journey. Though it was tough, it was not easy, a lot of challenges. And I was working, I had to keep my job, my career. Then finally, when I was 55, I could not give justice to both because I had to travel a lot. I put in my papers from ABP. It was just passion. My family said, why, what are you going to do? I said, no, nothing. This is my passion. I wanted to continue. I want to live life on my terms. I've officiated more than 10 or 12 world champions. It is a great journey, great feeling, sitting on the hot seat. And that's how my journey started. And I was a player, I was a coach, I was in the administration, I was a referee. Then finally they made me the director of referees, Squash Racket Federation of India, because we wanted to develop the quality of referees in India. So I had to conduct clinics, created a pool of referees. And today, all the referees today who are there in the country, all I have been selected and I have been training them. This journey has been very satisfying and very interesting. And everywhere it was very difficult because I should never allow this excuse. I should never allow these barriers come in my way. Never. Whether it is age, whether it is time. I always believe people say, I don't have time. I don't have time. People who say I don't have time, believe me, these are the guys who have time. Because none of us, if you say like that, none of us have time, but you have to create time. You have to create time and then you can do it. I had a very dear friend of mine who passed away, Mr. Ravi Maman, MRF director. We used to play a lot of squash together. He used to tell his staff and he used to tell his, I'll postpone the meeting till 7:30 in the evening. 6 o'clock he comes to the courts. He'll play quickly and then get back and get back to the meeting. See, he has created time. He's also running a huge company. He has also started the MRF Pace Foundation. So like this, I know so many instances, people who are really busy, they have created time. And we also in our lives, I know so many people in our careers and jobs, no, there is no time. I can't. Even they say, why don't you play a game? No, I don't have. Why don't you walk or exercise? No, there's no time. So I think the health factor, the de-stress factor is very important. Play a game or an individual sport especially. And I have been telling everyone that one has to play an individual sport. And you have to if you have kids, you have to put your kids also in one individual sport. This is all very important because what you learn from any individual sport is character building. You enjoy victory. When you lose, you're sad. You know how to handle. When it is a very crunch situation and nothing is going well, when it's 10-all, you know that you have to keep the ball in play and don't make a rash shot. All these things are there, which also in life, if you do, we also come into such situations. stressful situations. So we know how to hang in there, and then respecting your opponent, even if you have lost and you shake hands, then you have to go to the referee and say, thank you for officiating. These all are part and parcel of character building in life also, respecting. I can also say that, squash is a great leveler. I made some lovely friends across the globe. And I'm very happy that 2028 LA Olympics, that squash is being introduced. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of boost will be given to squash after the Olympics. And this journey I've really enjoyed this journey. And I hope to continue as long as I continue, as long as I can, because there is no line. As Steve Hawks says, age is just a number. So I do practice, but most important here is actually there is a lot of discipline, motivation. You have to be persistent. Even if you are there, you have to plan your life. This could be also in any part. In fact, if you are in business also, you have to have your planning, you have to have your goals, you have to have your targets. And again, one most important is you have to be very adaptable. You have to do course correction. Suppose my opponent is very good, he's attacking well. For you, your shots are not coming properly. You're making unforced errors. You have to do course correction. Then don't give the ball to the place where he is very strong, and just hang in there. These are all, again, the challenges of life, how we face in real life situation, because all of us also face a lot of challenges in our target situations, the market conditions and competition. So there again, we have to adapt to the situation. So all this is, I sincerely feel that a sport, your business or your life or your career, you can learn. There's a lot of life lessons to learn. And I'll just end here, because there's a lot I can keep talking on squash and how this journey came up. And I would love to take any questions if
Yes.
if there
Yes.
are anything.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. When you said that you have been at it for a long time and this has been a very satisfying journey, I could see the twinkle in your eyes and the power of conviction with which you said that doesn't come just because you keep going to the court every day. That comes because, the sport comes to you every day and every moment in your life. I think that's an amazing journey and the story that you have narrated to us, starting from the inspiring role models, not just for you, but for all of us in Fauja Singh and also Arunima Sinha. These are chilling stories, actually speaking. If you really go into the detail, they are the chilling stories from which we get the power of persistence, the power of overcoming difficulties, and making us, stronger in our resolve and discipline as we take to the sport that you choose to be in. Some of them have gone to mountaineering, some of them have gone to marathoning, some of them have gone to squash court like you. Your story is also very interesting. It is full of grit and determination. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us on this Friday in the session number 207. My esteemed friends and colleagues who have joined across the country, even from other walks of life like media, some of them have come from technology, some of them are entrepreneurs, leaders from Gurgaon, leaders from Jaipur, leaders from Bangalore, and various other parts like Kolkata and Hyderabad also have joined. I want all of them to ask you good questions. There is a lot for us to learn from you. And even I have a lot of questions I will ask in the second cluster. But the first cluster of questions will be opened by my esteemed colleague, Dr. Prasad. Over to you, Dr. Prasad, and we'll start this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Rao. Thank you, sir, for showing us a glimpse of what is possible. You use a number of words and you've given us a number of examples to show the landscape of what all you have done. I mean, it can go on and we can ask you a lot of questions. Let me begin, with a question about being a champion. I mean, you've played squash. Many people have won. People have become champions. Everyone has a potential to be a champion in something. Maybe sport, maybe something else. A champion in life. Maybe it's in social service. Maybe something else. We don't know. So one can be a champion in life or off life based on one's personality characteristics. There are some who may just not be doing activity, but they are superb in handling life. The way they go about handling situations. But this word champion, there are some characteristics which are associated moving towards championship in one's life. How do you work towards this based on your experience? I mean, you have used the words will, determination, no excuse, etc. But behind that, there are a lot of other things. So much of other things. It's like the tip of the iceberg that you showed us. So can you elaborate on what it makes to be a champion, whichever field?
Exactly. So if I refrain myself to sport, or maybe you rightly said, say any other field, see, there are certain things where you have to basically be sincere in what you do. A, B, you have to motivate yourself. You have to, three, have the quality of understanding the situation and then try to achieve. Yes, most realistically. No point having a goal which is unrealistic. I started being a beginner. I cannot say that I'm going to be a men's champion. I cannot. I must have my realistic goals. Number four, which I always felt is nothing like the effort and the determination. You must have, because discipline and determination go hand in hand. And lastly is your time management. You have to plan your timing. You have to plan your how you're going to do it and what are your timelines and how you're going to achieve that. And as a champion, you automatically, if you follow these, again, I put it a little bit more macro, but then as you have said it, that these are the main factors which will take you closer to being a champion.
Thank you, sir, for placing the building blocks of what goes to making a champion. I'll take it to a little more practical dimension now. And if I take two terms, we can take any one of them also. But suppose motivation and mindset. It counts. I know I have to get up. I have to get up at that time, continue till that time. And, for with regard to the first question, I want to be a champion. Right now, even there are a lot of people who don't want to be champions, right? So motivation towards that particular journey is extremely important for us as an individual, for society, for the nation, in order to excel at what we do. How do we work this out, sir? I mean, what has motivated you in your journey? Because you seem to have started at 36, so something has motivated you. And similarly, there are various stages at which you looked at the next stage, what you can do next. So how is motivation playing out for you, and how do you represent it for a commoner?
I'll give you an incident which has happened in my life, which has been a very great motivator for me. Being a world referee, we had the World Masters Championship in Hong Kong. That time I was around 60, 61, 60, 62 years old. Normally what happens as a world referee is you're assigned to the matches where 035 and 040, 045 players are playing, because they're all are former world champions, former world national champions, world champions. And the matches are very, very close. So the world referees are assigned to those matches. I have done a lot of matches with such players, in such level of players. I went to the tournament referee and I said, can you give me the over 80 finals? He looked at me, he says, Rajiv, are you sure? I said, yes. I said, I've done enough of this. I would like to appreciate the over 80 world finals. Anyway, he gave it to me. I went into my high seat. This guy was from Canada, another one was from South Africa. And believe you me, at that age, 80 plus they were playing. It's not that, they're just serving and then just finishing the rally. Each rally, each point they were playing at least for 3 to 4, 5 rallies. And when they come out, both of them are there with their wives, who are their coaches, their companions. So they give them water, they give them. Mr. Prasad, it became 2-all. I was sitting on the high seat and I was looking. The guys are tired. The wife wipes the shoulder, wipes the face and gives the water in the mouth and says, darling, don't put the ball in the front. He's anticipating. Now this guy is dead, literally fatigued. He said, The other guy I was looking, and then she again giving the water and telling, please keep the ball in play. Just don't finish. You're making errors. I thought to myself, they are 80 plus. That time I was only 60 plus, 62, 61 or 62. I said to myself, I've got 20 years of squash life. What a great motivation in my mind it was to myself, which I have shared with a lot of my squash players and a lot of my masters. I said, you have to see to believe the spark that gives you in life, that as Steve was said, age is a number and nothing is impossible. Now this, even like I told you about the Fauja Singh story, you carry on. If God is kind to you, you keep your health okay, and you motivate yourself. And these are the situations where, which stays there in your mind so much, and you can carry on with life. So I always tell people there is no age, there's nothing as retirement. You can carry on till the last day of your life.
Excellent, sir. I think you have been in situations and you also have this knack of catching the spark. Maybe not everyone has that, of getting the spark and getting, enlightened by the spark, lightened by the spark. And this is an extremely good example. I think at that age 80, the example that you have narrated, I mean, it motivates all of us. So it tells us that we have even more number of years to whatever we are doing in terms of being the best. Sir, this
Correct.
leads me to the next question. As a referee, you have seen differing views because people are experts. They have played, they would have their contests. And conflict is abundant today. I mean, in normal life also, you'll see that there are differing views for everything. And too much of time spent on that. And contest, forget the context, conflict. Now, as a referee, what kind of lessons would you have learned in conflict management? Now, conflict management can be between two people. It can also be in our own mind. So what kind of lessons have you learned on this, sir?
A very interesting question because I've been refereeing for the last 30 years now, 25, 26 years. And the word conflict is not the word. See, normally is man management. See, we guys are sitting in the hot seat, but the players are different. We are not the heroes. We are only officiating. And squash, I think, is the only game in the world where a lot depends on the referee. The decision of the situation depends on the referee. Whether you take tennis, whether you take badminton, you take anything, it's not subjective. Only call line calls or maybe the scoring you do. But here in squash, there is a lot of decisions you have to make. This particular situation, whether he is about to move out or whether he is come in the way of his stroke making. So if he comes in the way of stroke making, he's penalized. Things that's so subtle. So, and another thing in squash rules is it's obligatory on the part of the referee to give when the player asks for a decision, why have you given? We have to give a short answer. Sometimes they are unhappy. They do come back and do a dissent. Suppose if it goes on too much, then we say that we give you a conduct warning for dissent. If it goes ahead more, then we give them a contact stroke. That means he loses a point. And this happens only in squash. And because of that, now squash refereeing has evolved and is evolving. Every time, now suppose if I'm refereeing in a championship in Delhi, there's a guy who's sitting in Hong Kong or maybe in Manchester. He'll be live, he'll be watching and assessing me, how I'm doing decision making. And he will be doing my assessment. And then he will send me his view. Why have you done this? We have a lot of reviews, we have replays. And squash, that way we say now has become so evolved and decision making has become so strong and it cannot be taken lightly with especially top players. These guys, they are so fast, so quick, and it's an endurance sport and we can't afford to make wrong decisions. Anyway, we are not gods. It does happen sometimes, but that's very far and few between. And how you can manage the game, how you do management between the players is the key because they should not be upset between them. They become sometimes rough because if you do not check in the beginning, then what happens is that guy also starts being rough with the opponent and then it becomes messy. If it have gone in earlier and warned him, then the situation would be better. So there's all a lot of life lessons, especially in refereeing, that we all learn and learn and learn and learn because in refereeing there's no one is 100% perfect. It's an evolving thing and then we come down to a situation where we come to a point where okay, fine, I think we have done a good job.
Excellent, sir. You're giving me this feeling that there's a lot of learning to learn happening when you're referring, and that evolution word that you used is kind of matching into that. I'll take a an associated point, and now it's not conflict or contest; it is competition.
Correct.
I think in a sport and the sport that you are, I mean, you would have seen many worthy opponents, or in other languages, language of business, competitor. How do you tackle a tough opponent? What principles would you suggest in tackling competition, not just for squash but also for business?
See, one thing is it's a dynamic sport. Situations keep changing. You have your plans, you have your strategy, how you're going to play this opponent. Now, suppose if I play a particular opponent, I know this guy is very good in the front court. So I'll never try to put the ball in the front because I would have seen him so many times playing. So I strategize, I see his videos. So I start lobbing the ball back. So what happened is you strategize the situation. Similarly, I think even in business, there are a lot of new things which are coming up. You have your strategy, but before you realize that your competition has come out with something else and that would be indirectly affecting you. So you have to have also your course correction, how you're going to do it now. These challenges do do come by, and we have to be very resilient. We have to be, positive thinking, try to find out how the competition is going to be and how to react. The quicker you react, how you for the situation, and ultimately the result. It all depends upon how you challenge the situation.
Yes, sir. You have highlighted the aspect of dynamism and the fact that you need to be very alert about it while having your plans in place and your broad strategy in place when you're looking at a particular competitor. I think right now we are also doing that with the tariffs as a country. So, we will also have to learn how to respond to it. Excellent, sir. I think we are at about 7:11. I hand it back to Professor Rao for the next cluster of questions. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prasad. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Sir, let us understand a little more about squash. How is squash different from, say, table tennis? In the sense, what is the most important or dominant skill sets that are called for in squash? Sometimes in certain sports, it is endurance. Sometimes it is quick reflexes. Sometimes it is height. Sometimes it is weight. Sometimes it is less weight. Whereas, so what is the most important and dominant factor that makes you win in squash as a sport?
Squash is an all-weather sport. We play within the four walls. The approximate size is 32 feet by 22 feet is the squash court size. And the ball is a 1-inch ball. The ball, once it is hit, then it becomes warm. It flies. The endurance-wise, fitness-wise, agility-wise, you have to be in top shape. There's no question of saying that I don't have the stamina or I'm getting tired. This game is, as they say, you have to be fit to play squash and not play squash to become fit. According to Forbes, the toughest and the fittest game among all sports is squash. For about 30 to 40 minutes of game, you burn up slightly over 1,000 calories. And even your BP from 190 to 200 touches. This is the endurance sport among all the sports. They say after that is the ice hockey. But having said that, by the time people are 40, 45, because of the bending and turning, either your knees back up or your back backs up. So what you have to do is you have to strengthen it. You have to keep on strengthening your knees and your back to avoid injury because so quick turns are there. You have to be so agile. Your reflex has to be very quick, very fast. And unfortunately, this game of squash has been perceived as an upmarket game because it is given by the British. You'll find only in the clubs. A common man has no access to the clubs. So only thing is what we thought was, it's only being in this clubs environment. So this endurance and sport is only done, also only people who keep themselves fit, disciplined. This I'm talking about competitive sport. If you're in the competitive mode, if you're playing as a social game, okay, let me have just some workout and some movement and all, that's a different factor. But if you are in the competitive mode, you have to train, you have to have the stamina, you have to go to a gym once in a way to avoid injury because the game is so demanding. So that's why this squash is far, you can't compare this with table tennis because table tennis requires more reflexes, more anticipation. That's why, the game is totally different compared to squash.
Amazing, sir. I think the characteristic features of the sport have been identified for the benefit of all of us. It requires all of it that you see, some of it in some of the sports, but it looks like all of it is required here. And next only to probably ice hockey in terms of, fitness, endurance, agility, so on and so forth. Mentally also, you have to be fit and agile and resilient in order to play this game. So therefore, a derivative question, sir. Where did you first play your squash? Was it in Hyderabad Public School?
No, sir. In fact, Hyderabad Public School squash is not there. In fact, we are, as the alumni, I was there. We were also trying to put up a sports complex and you must have squash there. When those days when I was there's no squash. So first I picked up squash only when Madras Cricket Club after I became a member there. And
Sir, when are you visiting Hyderabad next?
Hopefully maybe in August. October.
October. So in October, we will play squash at ICFAI.
Oh, okay. Fine.
We have 2 squash courts in our Hyderabad campus, well maintained, And I
So
want you to play there and tell us what more we can do to improve. And your presence on campus would be a huge factor for motivating youngsters on campus and teachers on campus alike. So I will take you to campus with your permission in October, sir.
100%. I'll be too happy. I'll be delighted to be
Okay,
there.
now the next question, sir, is you are also the managing director of Rajiv Reddy Estates.
Yes.
So, what lessons that you have learned from the squash court or the squash sport that have influenced your decision making in your business?
The decision making in my business is a good question. Yes, because I'm the boss of my company, and I do take my own decisions, and I have a good team working for me, and I unless there is a situation where I've been required. I mean, they tell me what is it, and I do make a quick decisions. I do not delay. I don't procrastinate. I take decisions because I think quality of leadership is decision making, and there's no point delaying it. And yes, there is a certain amount of calculated risk one has to take. But in squash, again, if you relate that to the game, yes, because you have to be very quick to decide what shot to play, because you can lob, you can hit down the line, you can put a drop. So what is the quality of shot you're going to play is also a quick decision making you have to take there. And that, if you relate that into your this thing, that's why I said decision making is actually a quality of leadership.
Amazing, sir. Decision making is going to determine the quality of leadership. So, the pace at which you decide to play a shot in squash, no procrastination. In fact, you will foresee many things, and that agility is extremely helpful in decision making in real world business, like the way you are doing. Amazing parallels. Thank you so much, sir. I have one last question before I invite the members from the audience to raise their hand and ask questions. I believe a lot of questions are there, but my question is very simple, sir. Sometime back, you briefly mentioned about culture building, respecting your opponent before playing the game and also after losing the game. Sometimes you lose. So, how do you respect your opponent after losing the game, after the match is finished? Going and walking towards the referee and kind of thanking the referee for refereeing the match. These are all part of culture building. That's what you mentioned. So, my question, therefore, sir, is very recently in the month of June this year, we had seen young chess champion of India, Gukesh, beating Magnus Carlsen. And
Yes.
at the event of defeat, Magnus Carlsen banged the table and he has scattered the chess pieces. What does this speak about Magnus Carlsen and his coach?
I saw that incident myself, and first thing came to my mind that he has not been graceful in losing. See, after all, he's been a world champion. He's far superior, far experienced player. So Gukesh won. It was a shock to him. But his reaction, it should have not been like that. If he would have been graceful and shook hands with him, maybe his stature would have gone much higher. But as you said, I'm sure throughout the world and even media has written about this particular reaction of his. And maybe it must have been one of incident. I don't know, but it has happened. And we, especially, whenever I used to train, I used to tell all my youngsters, there are still quite a few I've come across. These kids, especially when they lose, they are very upset. So they refuse to shake hands. They just go away. And rightly so, because they come there to win, and then finally they had a bad day or whatever, and then they don't acknowledge to their opponent. But I make it a point. I make it a point, and then I also tell their coaches, I tell their parents that it's not the last game of his life. You have to inculcate. Tell that kid, you have to shake hand. Okay, it's okay. Tomorrow you'll win. Tomorrow you'll beat him. So unless kids are all also slowly being inculcated, and then also to some people also might not, because a referee, the player would have thought, because of referee I lost. He gave a bad decision. So I've also seen players who don't come and acknowledge, whereas the other guy comes and acknowledges. So wherever I am, wherever I talk to the coaches, because being a senior, I make it a point to tell them this is not the right thing. So next time, then they come and say sorry. So next time, so this is how the character building we have to also keep doing, and especially with the kids, so that as they keep evolving, So they have, they know, this is very important.
This is extremely important. I thought momentarily Magnus Carlsen lost his cool because he didn't expect himself to lose to a 19-year-old. This is a 34-year-old champion losing to a 19-year-old person. But subsequently, after a couple of days, he spoke to media and he said that Gukesh was blindly pushing his moves. There is no way he could have won this. On a normal day, I would have beat him. There also, he was not conceding gracefully his defeat. So
Yes.
what happened momentarily has only negatively reinforced subsequently after 2 days. But that's unfortunate and we have to learn from it. I'm only trying to close that case by saying that
Bad loser.
it takes a great deal of training and coaching and resilience to keep your prospects of winning from a defeat alive. Otherwise you will forever shelf the prospect of winning after you have lost. And
Exactly.
it takes not just the number of titles that you have, but it takes a real champion to be that graceful. So we have learned quite a bit from you, sir, and I'm sure you're training all the youngsters in this country to be graceful, both in defeat as well as in victory. The equanimity is extremely important. Thank you so much, sir, for bringing this point up. Now I'll open the mic to my esteemed audience. Mr. Harbinder Bindra, kindly go ahead and raise your question.
Yes. So a very good evening to you, Mr. Reddy. And,
Good
your
evening.
journey is, truly inspiring. And, I also see a lot of parallels, in my life and achieving so much and age is just a number. So, Mr. Reddy, I just had a very simple question. I said, because squash is basically a game of two people. And, can you actually replace a referee by an AI powered robot because he's more agile, can record, analyze, convey decisions, based on past data points. It's more efficient, more precise. And also, given the fact that you see today the price monies are very, very high, reputations are at stake and reputations are at stake. And, a small misdecision could actually impact a person's career, financials, and so many other things. So just a hypothetical because, AI is in the news these days and, what are your views around it?
Harvinder, in fact, in our referee discussions, this also point came up that not now, at least in future, would AI come into this aspect of officiating. But see, squash is such a subjective sport as far as refereeing is concerned. AI will not be more conducive in this particular sport because the same situation, you have a different decision. It could be because the speed, the height of the ball, the distance of the ball, where is going to be, and where is the opponent? Is he closer to the ball? Could it be a let, or could be, I don't know if you have, these words like stroke and let. I have no idea whether you have played squash. So when these situations come, I think human factor is far, far, far more than the AI.
Okay.
Yep. Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I think world over, already people are using AI embedded systems to aid and support the referees because they call for videos, they call for looking at those moments captured. And of course, the human referee looks at those things and gives the final decision. Just they want to refer to that. So in that, I think technology is already aiding, especially AI referees are already coming in various games. I don't know about squash, but I'm sure even if it's there, nothing can replace the human referee. It is always the human and machine together, not human or machine. It is and that is going to work well for us.
Mr. Sudhakar, I'd just like to add to what Harbinder has said. I'd like to also inform him. See, what has happened is now you have got the referral system. Now you give a decision and the particular player is not happy with that decision. He can ask for a referral. So what has happened is in front of him, they replay that thing. And then finally, the referral umpire, just like a third umpire in cricket, he gives the decision. That is what has happened is just they to eliminate in case there's any, maybe some flaw, maybe, seeing the other side. Look, there must be other angle to it. So that is also being introduced. And now this referral system is now, especially 5-star and 7-star tournaments, the premier tournaments are being I mean, it's become mandatory.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for this clarity. Sir, I'll request now Aniruddha Saha to raise his question. Over to you, Dr. Aniruddha.
It is not doctor, it's just Anirudh Shah. Thank you for this chance to speak out, Mr. Sudhakar. And thank you, Mr. Rajiv Reddy, for this. This is quite a good session I am going through. But I have
Thank
a
you.
very simple question. Of course, it is a mind-boggling rather. It is like that the self-motivation is an exclusive tool in the path of development and achievements. But there are a lot of challenges has to be faced. Can you give us a light of force to overcome such challenges by following this self-motivation, please, sir?
See, the idea is, as I given you a few incidents which has sparked me, like an 80-year-old final which I did over 80s. That was a great motivation for me. Now, similarly, like Fauja Singh, Anuridha Saha, Arunima Saha, there are a lot of people. If you read their life stories, it is so inspiring and so motivating. And so that only thing is we have to, talk to ourselves and say, yes, these are the challenges. And then that's how I would like to overcome it. And this is how I would like to face the situation, get motivated by such, when they have done such fantastic and, against heavy odds. Why don't we do it? Why don't we create a situation where we also can emulate them, at least at our own different levels?
Okay. It means in very short, we can say that your point of view is that we have to develop a situation which is self-motivating to the self-motivating tool. This is what you are trying to say.
Exactly. And then you have to see
Yeah.
also, you have to also see a lot of, life situations, how people are doing this and how they are getting motivated. Say, how one gets motivated. There are so many factors, you see in life, in your career, in your business. There are so many situations in your sport, how people are doing such a thing against so many odds, how they're getting what picks them, what gives them the spark for them to, and what motivates them, what pushes them, what drives them. See, these are the factors which, you have to start emulating, and then that only kicks you off also, kicks in. I said, yes, I think I should also do this.
Great,
See,
sir. Great.
that-
Thank you for this small
Yeah.
piece of information. Thanks a great.
Thank you, Anuradha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for answering all these questions so patiently. Your story and the examples and your own role models who have inspired you all put together has actually energized our audience today. And as I said, we bring leaders from all walks of life. And today we've been fortunate to have you from the field of sport, not just from the field of sport, but you have epitomized grit, determination, persistence, and adaptability in your own life, in your own game, in your own code. And this serves as the biggest motivation for all of us to begin in our own small way or big way in whatever we do. How do we stay relevant and how do we stay persistent and display this adaptability in whatever we can choose? I think playing without excuses, bringing no excuses of time, no excuses of age and situation and context is the biggest thing to show up and start playing. And I think it has got strong parallels, very relevant parallels to the business that we do. Majority of them are from the world of business, entrepreneurship, education, technology, media, so on and so forth. You as a leader have inspired us today, sir. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of Dr. Prasad and everyone who has joined today, that your time that you've spent here for the last 65 minutes has been well utilized and it has motivated all of us. We would like to keep in touch with you. As I said, we would request you to visit our campus and play in our campus. It's a great factor of motivating youngsters and teachers. I look forward to that moment, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sudhakar. I will looking forward to it. I'll give you a ring when I'm in Hyderabad.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you so much. And if I had known that you studied from Hyderabad Public School, I would have had even more number of people in the list of participants who have joined today. I would have specially sent a message to HPS Begumpet and I would have asked them to join, including their principal. So there's no great joy than their alumnus speaking here, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. In fact, we are the 60 and 70 batch. We are about 135 people in our alumni group. We have also our alumni group.
Wow.
And if I can get this live recording, I will send it to all my friends in that group.
Yeah, sure, sir. I'll definitely share this on Tuesday next, and I'll also share a summary with you a week down the line and request you to go through and probably amend it if required. And then we'll upload it on our website. For others who have missed, they can go back and learn from this conversation. That's the idea.
Thank you. I hope I have been at least a little bit of helpful to your standards, because you're all more of professionals and people in different walks of life. So I was actually quite apprehensive, because being a sportsman, we are not into the corporate world now, so I don't know how
No, it
you
was.
guys have taken it.
No, sir. It was very, very good.
Excellent, sir.
What you have told us a story from a 32 by 22 feet code is applicable much beyond the four walls and also within the four walls of the boardroom and in real life as well. I can't thank you enough for helping us see this. See, what happens is a lot of us can talk about theory, but someone who has walked the talk, someone who has been there and done that, someone who has started at 36 and still going strong at 72, 74 is an amazing example of being a role model and inspiring us. So that I can't describe the value that you have brought by being present on WiseViews platform. On behalf of Dr. Prasad and I, we would like to be in touch with you and we'll remain grateful to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sudhakar Garu, and then also Mr. Prasad. Thank you so much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being our audience so patiently for this session number 207. Next week on 29th of August, again at 6:30 p.m., we will have another leader talking to us from another domain, and we'll stay tuned to learn from it. Till then, read more about Mr. Rajiv Reddy and his squash court lessons. He's widely published. We can learn a lot from him. You can watch some videos as well. And by the time we come back for the next session, we would have some ready material which is uploaded, and you can go back to WiseViews sessions on ICFAIonline.org, and we can take it forward from there for the next discussion. Till then, have a wonderful weekend and a good night.